Ever wondered why governments don't just print more money to solve poverty? Wouldn't it be amazing if everyone could be rich overnight? It sounds like a dream, right? More money for everyone, no more struggling, and poverty wiped out with the press of a button. But here's the catch. This seemingly magical solution comes with a hidden trap. A trap that could spiral into disaster for everyone, especially the people it's meant to help. Stick around because in this video, we're breaking it all down in the simplest terms. By the end, you'll not only understand why printing more money isn't the answer, but you'll also know the surprising ripple effects it can have on the economy. In this video, we'll explore, well, printing money doesn't work the way you might think, what inflation is and why it matters, real-life examples of economies that tried and failed with this approach. Well, let's get started. What happens when we print more money? When a government prints more money and puts it into circulation, it doesn't create more value. It just increases the amount of cash chasing the same amount of goods and services. This is what economists call inflation. Imagine this. You're hosting a pizza party with 8 slices of pizza. Suddenly, more guests show up, and now there are 16 people all vying for the same 8 slices. What do? Either you cut the slices smaller or make people bid for them, effectively raising the price of each slice. This is exactly what happens in the economy when more money is printed without increasing the actual goods and services. Inflation can start small, like prices gradually creeping up, but if money keeps being printed recklessly, this small problem can spiral into hyperinflation, where prices rise so quickly that money becomes practically worthless. The more cash people have, the more businesses raise prices because the money itself has lost its purchasing power. So while printing money sounds like an easy fix to poverty, all it really does is dilute the value of the currency. It's like pouring water into a pot of soup. Sure, you'll have more soup, but it won't taste as good and it won't fill you up. The root of the problem, the main issue is that money is a tool to represent value. It's not value itself. Real wealth comes from goods and services. The food we eat, the houses we live in, and the jobs that keep the economy moving. Printing more money doesn't create these things. It only changes how much paper we have to represent them. Think of a classroom where students earn gold stars for doing well. One day, the teacher decides to give everyone 100 gold stars to make them feel accomplished. At first, the students are thrilled, they feel special and rewarded, but soon they realize that the stars have lost their meaning because everyone has them. That's exactly what happens in an economy when money is printed without a corresponding increase in production. The root of poverty isn't a lack of money. It's a lack of resources, education, opportunities, and infrastructure. Printing money might look like a quick solution, but it ignores the real problems that need fixing to create lasting change. Instead of focusing on printing cash, economies need to focus on creating value through innovation, investment, and sustainable growth. Real-life examples. Let's look at 2 extreme but real examples of what happens when countries try to print their way out of economic trouble. Zimbabwe's hyperinflation crisis. In the early 2000s, Zimbabwe faced economic turmoil. To pay off debts and support government spending, the country's leaders decided to print more money. At first, it seemed like an easy fix, but the consequences were disastrous. Prices started rising rapidly. A loaf of bread that once cost a few Zimbabwean dollars suddenly cost billions. By the height of the crisis, people were carrying wheelbarrows of cash just to buy basic groceries. Zimbabwe's currency became so worthless that it was abandoned entirely, and people resorted to bartering goods. Venezuela's currency collapse. In Venezuela, a similar story unfolded. To address its economic struggles, the government printed more money, hoping to stimulate the economy. Instead, inflation skyrocketed and prices soared beyond what anyone could afford. A cup of coffee that cost a few bolivars soon cost millions. People started weighing cash instead of counting it because the bills were so devalued. Basic necessities like food and medicine became scarce, and many Venezuelans fled the country to escape the economic chaos. These examples show that printing more money doesn't solve economic problems, it creates them. The real solution lies in building a strong foundation for the economy through productivity, innovation, and sound financial policies. Why printing money can make poverty worse. While printing more money might seem like a quick fix for poverty, it often has the opposite effect, disproportionately hurting those who are already struggling. The poor are hit hardest. Inflation primarily impacts essential goods and services, things like food, rent, and transportation. These are items that make up a large portion of a low-income household's expenses. When the cost of these necessities skyrockets due to inflation, the poor are left with even less purchasing power. For example, a loaf of bread that cost $2 last month might now cost $5. While wealthier individuals can absorb these increases, people living paycheck to paycheck feel the pinch the most. Their income doesn't increase as quickly as the cost of living, leaving them worse off than before. Savings lose value. Inflation doesn't just erode purchasing power, it also destroys savings. Imagine working hard to save $1,000 over several years, hoping to use it for emergencies or education. But when inflation sets in, that $1,000 might only have the buying power of $100. For those trying to climb out of poverty, this loss is devastating. It discourages saving altogether, leaving people trapped in a cycle of financial insecurity. By increasing the gap between rich and poor, inflation caused by excessive money printing deepens economic inequality, making the fight against poverty even harder. What actually solves poverty? If printing money doesn't work, what does? The answer lies in creating real value within an economy. Creating real value. To truly tackle poverty, a country needs to focus on increasing the production of goods and services. This includes growing industries, fostering innovation, and creating jobs. When more goods are produced and services offered, the economy grows sustainably, and people can access what they need at reasonable prices. For instance, instead of printing money, governments can invest in programs that support small businesses. These businesses create jobs, provide services, and contribute to a healthy economy. It's like planting seeds and nurturing them to grow into a bountiful harvest, rather than trying to fake the harvest by printing pictures of fruits. Investing in education and infrastructure. Education is one of the most powerful tools for solving poverty. Teaching skills and fostering innovation equip people to earn better incomes and contribute more to the economy. At the same time, building infrastructure like roads, schools, and hospitals lays the foundation for long-term growth. Take South Korea as an example. In the 20th century, the country invested heavily in education and technology, transforming itself from a war-torn nation into a global economic powerhouse. By focusing on creating value, countries can generate real wealth and improve the quality of life for their citizens. Let's take a moment to share a quirky, eye-opening fact about the absurdity of hyperinflation. Did you know Germany during the 1920s? The government printed money in an attempt to pay off war debts and stabilize the economy. But instead of solving problems, this led to hyperinflation. Prices doubled every few days, and the value of money plummeted so drastically that people found it cheaper to use banknotes as wallpaper than to buy actual wallpaper. Imagine walking into a home where the walls are decorated with money. Literally, this bizarre scenario highlights how excessive money printing can turn something valuable into something worthless. This example isn't just a fun tidbit, it's a reminder of why real economic solutions are always more effective than quick fixes like printing money. If you enjoyed this simplified explanation, hit that like button and subscribe for more videos that make complex topics easy to understand. Thanks for watching.